can say this about season 4. It is going to be so worth the wait.
Nowhere, actually.
A wrecking machine. I'll take it.
I'm still figuring out my own style, Mark, actually.
It was great.
It took 2 minutes and I had to answer, yeah, go for it.
Are you sure you're not interested? I was like, don't ask me again. I can't refuse it twice.
In Holland, in one country.
She got me so deep and underwater, and I drank it. That's not good.
You'll try chocolate from South Africa to Australia to England. It will taste so different.
So it's been really amazing that it's been with you after 10 long years.
The first title we were messing around with, we were going to call it Lockdown. Yeah. And then after a while, we actually kind of realised, God, this is dragging on a lot longer than what we thought it was going to be.
I didn't want to give people a reminder.
Our bass player has a band. We were like, let's go on the road, man. But and then it just came to a screeching halt.
We had to work on like how I was biting the carrot. Like I had to do it very purposefully, you know? You didn't want a weak bite, but you didn't want a bite that was too strong.
Someone jumps the stage and one of our techs just body slams him to the ground and you can see me kick him.
I guess I was too distracted. I was having too much fun. Never a bad thing.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, shut up. Hello.
Hello, Mark.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts, based here in Seattle, Washington. Thank you so much for joining me on this Monday, the 26th of April, 2021, and hopefully having a good start to your week and getting ready to move into the month of May. Gosh, we're almost done with 4 months of 2021, and it's a really nice day here in Seattle in the Pacific Northwest, kind of an indicator of what's coming up for spring and summer. And hopefully we start getting things back to normal in terms of live events and everything else that we've been missing for over a year now. And a few quick housekeeping things as always. Tomorrow on, my days are all screwed up. Tomorrow on Tuesday at 10 a.m. I have Metal Light from Sweden joining me for the very first time. And then at 3:30 Pacific Daylight Time here on the West Coast, I've got The Ring, which is WRING, which is Don's project. He is a progressive rock musician, so I got a chance to check out his video, and he's doing some amazing guitar work on that. So I want to talk to him, and that's they're from Canada, so that's going to be on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, then I've got Motor Jesus from Germany joining me. So that's going to be fun talking to those guys about their dirty brand of rock and roll / heavy metal. And then after that, the live streams are going to take a short break, at least for a couple days, because I'll be getting my second vaccination jab on Thursday. So I just want to make sure everything's on the up and up and that I don't have any adverse effects from it. So I'm not going to book anything for Thursday or Friday. But then once we move back into Saturday and beyond, then there'll be some other things coming up. I'm actually going to be talking with somebody today about what day they want to do their live stream, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, there's always things going on. If you follow me as Eclectic Arts Media, one word on Instagram, that's where I post everything first. And then some of that information migrates over to Facebook, not all of it, but some of it. And that's when you can kind of see what's going on. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, I really appreciate it if you did. If you could like this video stream as well, that's always a plus. And then on the Twitch side of things, if you could follow me over there, that would also be greatly appreciated as well. That's kind of the sum of all the parts of where I am socially with the social media part of things. And yeah, we're just going to get moving with all kinds of things that are coming up. People know that I'm always looking at tips and donations, and they're greatly appreciated if you are only in the position to do so. And if you feel so inclined, that is here when I put it up. It's a PayPal me link. It's always in the description of all the YouTube videos that I put up. All the live streams have it. So if you want to look at the hyperlink after this is done and make a tip or donation, every dollar helps me put this streaming service on. I had a really generous donor who helped me break even with the bare minimum cost of these things. But then all the other equipment and things that I do always goes back into Eclectic Arts. And that's how I intend on doing it. So it's not me just pocketing money. It's me trying to make this thing better. Most people know that I use my phone for these because I don't have a laptop that I trust. My laptop over here, it does basic things, but it's not going to be able to handle streaming, and it's going to look like it's from 1995 or something if I try to do it. But anyway, if you're so inclined and want to do that, then that's great. I'm going to take this off now so we don't have to keep looking at it. And again, I thank you so much for taking the time. This is live stream number 69 this year, number 174 overall since May 22nd last year. And I'm not really sure what I'm going to do once we hit that 1 year mark next month. Guess I need to figure that out. Maybe I have to start talking to the Alice folks about maybe trying to reconnect with them, because they're the reason I'm doing any of this stuff virtually when they invited me on their tour last year. So anyway, lots of stuff going on, and let's kind of get to today's guest because I'm super excited about it. My guest today is a metallic hardcore punk band from Louisiana. They just released their full-length album, In Transmission, on Friday the 23rd, which was not yesterday, but this past Friday. So here it is. I have my copy of it. I'm actually wearing one of their shirts too, but you can't quite see the name. It's on the bottom. It was released on Blacklight Media and Metal Blade Records. Please welcome to the Eclectic Arts Virtual Studio, Tyler Harper from Capra.
Hey, Mark.
Tyler.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great, sir. How are you?
Doing well today.
Yeah, congratulations on the release of the album. I mean, there's such a huge, not even a buzz, it's just like a huge reaction to this album.
Yeah, it's been absolutely crazy. We've had such a great reaction to the entire album as a whole, the music video we released. It's been very cool.
Yeah, because I know you guys you must have been doing all kinds of stuff on Friday, 3 days ago, because you were taking over Metal Blade's Instagram. You were doing an album chat. I think on Thursday you dropped the Medusa music video. It's like
We've been so busy. It's been stressful. It's been overwhelming, but it's been wonderful all at the same time.
Yeah, I can imagine. I know, like when I had a chance to talk to Crow, the vocalist of the band, a week or two ago, saying that you guys have been waiting for this moment basically because the album's been done, and obviously the pandemic hit and everything else. So it's like all this buildup of kind of ebb and flow and up and down, and finally it's like boom, this thing's out, and it's got to feel amazing.
Yeah, it's like a whole year and a half of work just with the album all coming into 2 to 3 days and 1 day of release, and it was incredible. It's still incredible.
Yeah, awesome. Well, and I think it's just, like for myself, when I first heard the band, which was through a press release through Metal Blade, I was kind of like, and I was like, listen to the music, and then Crow's voice came in, and it's like, holy crap, there's such an interesting mix of styles here that it sounds new, but it also kind of has like respect to the, the old guard of bands of punk and hardcore and metal. And I'm just curious about your own background. What kind of things were you listening to and growing up that maybe helped fuse into what Capra became?
I think I started off with Black Sabbath. I think that was the first band that like really sold metal and rock and roll for me. And then my dad got me really into Rush. I'm still a huge Rush fan. I've seen him 3 times. After that, it led into a more punk stage. I got into Bad Brains. I got into Minor Threat. And then that turned into bands like Botch and Converge and Norma Jean, Every Time I Die. So I've been kind of all over. But I give credit to Black Sabbath for really converting me into the metal and the loud music scene.
Okay, and did you ever get a chance to see Sabbath live?
No, I did not. I wish I had.
Okay, yeah. When did I see them? I saw the reunion tour. So when the original guys got back together in like 99, whatever.
Oh wow! Yeah, I'm jealous. I'm a jealous guy.
It was something to see that, because I remember Pantera were the special guests on that tour.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I remember some of the Soundgarden, the guys were just kind of loitering around by the mixer in the the middle part of the floor. Everybody that was like a musician in Seattle, didn't matter what kind of band you were in, were at that gig. Yeah, for I think anyone who's into heavy music, at some point you come across Sabbath. I mean, you just kind of have to.
You got to give credit. They're the founders of metal in my eyes.
Yeah, for sure. And that's interesting that when you mentioned Rush, I'm kind of wondering, so do you consider that it sounds like your taste is pretty eclectic then too, even beyond the artists that you mentioned?
Absolutely. Yeah, I listen to a ton of stuff. I'll listen to indie. You know, I've been listening to a lot of beach house lately, which is the complete opposite of our band. I just kind of like to take a break sometimes from the heavy music, listen to a little bit more atmospheric, indie, softer stuff, if you will.
It sounds like me, and I think a lot of people out there, maybe that's also one of the reasons why Capra is resonating so well, is that, you know, it's kind of based on your mood. So if I feel like I want something aggressive, yeah, you put something aggressive on. If you want something a little bit more lighter or a little more atmospheric or what have you, then you listen to that. But there's so many different things going on in Capra, the band, that, and based on what you just said with your own background, that doesn't surprise me at all that the band kind of came out the way that it sounds, at least right now.
Right, right. Yeah, each song is taken from a mood, definitely. I'll write riffs. If I'm in a bad mood, I can always channel that into good. I can always say, okay, I'm having a bad day today. Let's play some guitar. I play guitar for almost 4 hours every single day, no matter what. So it just depends on how I'm reacting to that day on what's going to come out from that.
Okay, and that makes perfect sense. And that's interesting. So have you been just getting into that routine of playing guitar that long just because it's something to keep your chops up, or just something you like doing, or both?
I got into it actually when I entered sobriety. Like I struggled with addiction, and I did a whole 90-day stint in rehab before this band. And when I got out, it was like, all right, now I need to channel all of that aggression, frustration, and just my overall feelings that I went through being an addiction for years, into a certain music project, and that was Capra, and that's how it was born. And so I switched my obsession, you know, from alcohol and drugs to guitar. And so now that's really my outlet. That's my therapy. That's how I get by, get through the day. I just play guitar. I write riffs, and yeah, we've been grinding on new stuff. Even though the album just came out, I think we're 6 or 7 songs into the next one.
Oh, nice. That's awesome to hear. I'm sure all the fans out there are getting getting stoked already that there's.
Yeah, I don't know how soon that'll be out. We don't want to release too quick, but we're definitely writing. The goal is to have about 15 to 20 songs by the end of the year, and then we just go from there, pick the best ones, and see what happens.
Okay, yeah. Well, and it kind of reminds me, and I mentioned this to another guest, that's kind of like what like film actors have to do. They may have filmed a movie 5 years ago, and then they're out on the they're out on the TV circuit or whatever, promoting it, and they've already done like 6 movies since then. So they have to kind of like. So yeah, I remember doing that movie, and I remember we shot it here, but they don't remember specific scenes. They don't remember a lot about it.
And that's kind of the same way I am with the album. There's certain songs on this album that I don't quite remember writing. It's just I'm in a daze. I'm in like this zone of putting them all together, and then we'll listen back to it, and it's like, wow, I don't even remember the writing process of that song.
It makes sense, since, like you said, that you know, you worked on it. It was kind of been sitting there because of the pandemic, and then you've already been working on some other riffs and other ideas, and songs are already coming together for eventual album number 2. And hopefully you get a chance to do a touring cycle for this album, or maybe several touring cycles.
I hope so.
Yeah, and when you mentioned that, you know, when you came out of rehab and were putting your energy into Capra, where'd the name of the band come from?
So we're all big video game nerds. We like to play games. I am borderline obsessed with the Dark Souls trilogy, and there's a boss in the first Dark Souls called the Capra demon that you fight, and you fight him in this like super tiny room, and he kicks your ass just over and over again, and you got to keep going back, and you got to keep fighting him until you win. And that's kind of like reminiscent of how our live shows are. When we played our first live show, it was like, okay, this is the band name, you know. We went through a ton of names before that, but we just wanted you to be in a small venue and just getting pummeled over and over again. So it's not really like the greatest response to a name. It's kind of nerdy, but that's what we went with, and we like it.
Well, I like, since I'm not a gamer, but I like the idea of what you said, that, yeah, you're basically trapped in this small room getting your ass kicked, and getting your ass kicked by a band. So That's that's awesome. Everyone loves those kind of sweat on the walls kind of gigs. So
Oh yeah, those are my favorite kind. The small intimate shows where everybody's just like kind of on top of you. That's the shows we love.
yeah. So when you guys first started off, because I know parts of the lineup were different back then, was the sound pretty much what it is now, or did it kind of evolve over those years?
No, the sound at the beginning, I actually started off on bass, and our current drummer Jeremy was playing guitar. We had a whole new drummer. We had a different vocalist at the time, and we kind of sounded like At the Drive-In. It was more melodic, a little bit prettier and less intense. And we had that same drummer, he quit the night before a show that we were really looking forward to. And I had known all the guitar parts because I was helping write with Jeremy. And Jeremy's a born drummer. So the night before the show, we decided we were still going to do it. And he switched over to drums. I switched to guitar. And that's kind of really when it took off and fed our sound. We got a lot faster. We got a lot more intense with writing. And then we went through a few bass players. Our last bass player actually is a teacher, and that's why he couldn't be in the band anymore. So we found Ben Paramore, who was just as dedicated, just as committed as we were. And it was a blessing to find him. And then we had some issues with our last vocalist, and we kicked him out of the band. And then I knew immediately that I wanted a female. I wanted that voice, and I wanted to give. We need more females in hardcore and in punk and in metal. So I wanted to give someone that chance, and we found Crow Lotus, and we were off at that point. She was just the perfect fit, the perfect puzzle piece that we had been missing. And yeah, we couldn't have asked for a better vocalist in that sense.
Okay. And when you were looking for your new vocalist, was that just through online things, just actually figuring things out locally with other bands and kind of figure out who's the talent out here?
Yeah, I made a post saying we needed more hardcore girls more females in hardcore and in metal, and I asked for some people to tag some others. And we had always played. I mean, we were from a small town, so every musician knows each other. And Crow had been playing bass in a band. She did some backup vocals, which I looked up online, and it sounded great. So we had her come in and try out. And I think we actually made her try out four times before we told her she was in the band. But we knew that first time that she was a part of this band. We knew that it sat well in the mix, and it changed our sound to the way that we always intended it to sound. So we just wanted to see if she would keep coming back to practices. What would she contribute? And I think by the third or fourth, she was like, "What are we doing here? Am I in this band?" And we were like, "You were in the band from the start. We just wanted to check you out more."
That's cool. Well, yeah, I think that's probably the same story with almost every band when you kind of find that right member that you kind of knew from the first time you either saw each other or heard them plug in or something. That they're just going to work, but we still want you to kind of come back and make sure that this is going to be something we can build off of, and
absolutely,
not some kind of one-off thing that you had a really great day that day or something when you came in, and then you come in the second time for audition or third, and you're a mess or something.
Right? No, she had 4 great tryouts. It was, and she's still doing it.
Awesome. And so when, like you were mentioning, you're playing guitar 4 hours a day, and you guys have been writing songs and that type of thing. What's a typical song process like for you as a band? So do you come up with riffs and you bring it to the rest of the band, or how's this kind of work?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I take so many riffs. We have a band chat, so I'll send videos, I'll send audio. They can just get prepared on it. And then when we go into our rehearsal space, we'll kind of grind out majority of those riffs, see what fits, and then we have a dry erase board where we just kind of layer everything out. We structure it the way we want it, and then afterwards Crow will come, we'll demo it out, we'll record it, and we'll give it to Crow, and she'll put all of her lyrics to it, and then that's a wrap.
Okay. And do you have production skills yourself? Have you ever thought about, or maybe already have been doing things on your own, could album 2 hypothetically be something that you produce yourselves?
No. I mean, we potentially could do that, but we like working with who we work with. So I think we're going to go the same route probably on the next album. As far as demos go, we can record them to where they don't sound too good just for lyric purposes. They'll never be released to the world. I hope not. They're so rough and raw. So.
Okay, well, never say never. Maybe it'll end up in the box set 20 years from now or something.
Yeah, that's possible.
All right, and let's talk about you guys also, besides the album coming out, and again, for folks that don't have it, looks like this because I have the CD. I've been jamming it. You guys dropped the Medusa music video on Friday, and
right.
So who came up with that storyline? Because there's definitely a story going on in that video.
Yeah, the story actually was done by Tom Rosario, Matt Valentine, and Chase Guidros. They are the masterminds behind that video, filming, editing, all of it. It's a funny story, actually. We had it planned out to do almost an 80s aerobics video for Medusa. We wanted to go very lighthearted and funny. We wanted to show off, we're always joking around, and we're never truly serious behind all the cameras and everything. So we wanted to show our comedic side. And during COVID, we couldn't find a gym that would allow us to shoot. So we ended up having to scrap that idea, and then it turned into this horror thriller that really has a deep meaning behind it. We wanted to show that it's good to kill off the old versions of yourself, much like I struggled with addiction and kind of killed that version. So in the video, you'll see us kidnapping ourselves and completely torturing ourselves just to bring out the better version of ourselves.
Okay. Yeah. I love that idea, and I actually didn't pick up on that when I watched the video the first time.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's kind of
like others are. It's very deep, and it's very. There's a lot of quick camera shots, but when you know the meaning behind it, it's really cool, and it's really awesome how it turned out.
Yeah, because now I'm thinking of some of the images. Hood's coming off and the other stuff's coming off, and you guys, is that your practice space that you guys are jamming in that video?
Yes. Yeah, we decided we always wanted to do a music video in there because it's such a cool location. So we finally got to do that. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's great to know. So I love these kind of things when I get a chance to interview people like yourself, and I get to hear some of the behind the stories things, the things that I'm just not, which doesn't surprise me that I'm not picking up on sometimes. The older I get, the less I seem to know and pick up on details. But
yeah, we were a little nervous because in the teaser that we were posting for a while, it shows us removing the masks, and we kind of gave away the ending. So we were like, oh, I hope people don't just immediately know when watching it. But it is pretty deep, and I can see how some people could miss it.
Okay, and who knows? Maybe that 80s aerobic video idea will come up down the road or something for another.
It's absolutely going to surface. We want to do it very bad. We ordered outfits and everything for it.
Okay, it's got to happen now. Then, so
already got it absolutely does.
That's great, and that's just I think it's interesting because I talk to bands, obviously, and I also interview dancers and theater people and people from the TV and film world and ballet and opera. And you kind of find out by doing this that for the most part, if you're an artistic or creative person, you have a lot of that in common regardless of what your field is. And so, right. Yeah, somebody might hear Capra who you might think, well, they're probably not going to like it. And it turns out you don't really know that because they like all kinds of things, just like I like all kinds of things and you like all kinds of different things.
That's right.
And so if someone said, did you know that Tyler likes Rush? Like, that shouldn't surprise you because
Tyler loves Rush.
Tyler loves Rush.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't think in terms of silos and I'm just going to stay in this little lane. It's like, no, if it's cool, it's cool. It doesn't matter where it's coming from.
Right. Yeah, we take it day by day. I mean, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. It's up to you. It's your personal choice.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so when you were talking about that you had struggled with addiction for a number of years and then you went into a program and what, if you don't mind sharing, what got you to a point where you're like, I need to get into a program? Did something force you in there, or did you make a conscious decision? I've had enough. I got to get clean.
No, it took me about 6 rehabs to finally stop. I got tired I was going to jail. I was getting in fights. I was driving drunk. I was doing very stupid things that I regret. And I got to the point where I was just tired of living that life. And I decided to make that switch and allow good things to happen to me. I was in such a dark, depressed state that I believed that nothing good could happen to me. And it didn't until I got sober. Once I got sober, everything really started to roll. I was writing better music. I was always pretending to be someone that I wasn't. And I could really open up and be my true self in sobriety. So that motivated me each day to just stick with it and stay sober.
Okay. Well, that's, much respect to you to keep going back in there and trying to find that, no, at some point I'm going to make this stick. And I found the motivation because things started to get better for you once you did it the 6th time. And I've got a curious kind of random mind at times. And I'm just curious, going way back, do you have any kind of certain circumstance or something that kind of got you on that path to begin with in terms of using?
I can't really pinpoint it. I know I started drinking when I was 15, and just being in Louisiana, it's everywhere. It's a hot commodity out here. It's really hard to not drink. And you just feel like you need it. You feel like you need it to be social. You feel like you need it to be your true self. And then it really just comes crashing down on you, and it turns around into, wow, I don't need this to be my true self. That is not my true self,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think anything really traumatic happened to me to cause my addiction. I think it was just it just ran in my family.
Oh, okay. All right. Wow. And so I know from when I was talking with Crow that certain issues, it could be addiction, could be other, domestic violence, could be social issues, that the band is very much, strong supporters in terms of awareness, but then also trying to find ways to help support organizations and things of that nature. Are you doing anything like that in terms of addiction, where you're partnering with somebody, or even just helping one particular person out, or anything like that in terms of what you went through?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we did a show, I think a year and a half ago, that benefited a sober living house local to Lafayette, Louisiana. We raised over $1,300 for them. That just takes people off the streets. It'll give them a house to stay in. It'll give them a bed to sleep in, food on the table, stuff like that. And we'd love to do more. COVID kind of shut down any kind of chances for us to do shows benefit-wise, but we're absolutely going to continue to do charity shows like that.
Okay, that's awesome to hear, sir. I love it. My background, I used to work as a teacher, and I was also done a lot of community-based work myself at many nonprofit agencies. So it's kind of near and dear to me when I hear artists taking up that mantle and letting people know that, I went through these things, but this is how I got out of it, and now I'm trying to give back, basically, so that other people can also benefit and live a better life.
Definitely, we're huge supporters of it, and we're very open. We're very transparent about our pasts, and we just want to help others to succeed. We want to show you that there's a way out, and we want to translate that through our music as well, so that when you're feeling alone or you're feeling dark and deep in a hole and you can't get out of it, we want to say, hey, we're there with you. We're going to throw you a ladder. We're going to pull you up, and we're going to take you with us.
Nice. Yeah. And that might be one of the aspects of, one of many aspects of In Transmission, where I think maybe that's also what's resonating with people, is that it just sounds like something like, if I'm in a really fucked up mood and I put this on, I don't feel so bad once I'm done because I got it all out of me.
That's totally the point of the album. Which is great. And it's not only that, but we've hit a rough patch in 2020, and everybody went through that together, which was super crazy to experience all at the same time. And there's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of aggression. People lost their jobs. People were depressed. There's a lot of stimulus money going out, which really hurts addicts, and addicts spend all that money on drugs. So I know there was a lot of overdosing. and people are upset. And it's a proper time to release an album that is just spewing out anger and frustration and saying, hey, we're upset too. We're there with you.
Yeah, and again, you're absolutely right. This album, to me, is maybe that's one of the reasons. Like, I don't have a strong hardcore background in terms of bands that I listen to. I'm much more of a metalhead, some punk, but I also grew up in the '70s and '80s, so that also means easy listening. That it means disco a little bit.
Oh,
all the hair metal bands in the '80s, but it really just it just got good to me as soon as I heard the first song on this. I think it was actually probably a video is what I first saw and heard. I'm kind of like, man, it just felt so good. I said, when is this thing coming out? I got to find out.
Right.
And you're right. I don't think I'm alone because everyone's gone through this pandemic for the last year and some change, that whatever your personal issue was, this is like one of those things you can put on and feel like, man, everything I'm feeling is coming out through this. And now I'm not going to go there and, beat the shit out of someone. Let's say you're going to listen to this music and do something positive instead.
Right. That's exactly right.
Awesome. And I'm also curious about, the title of the album, In Transmission. What's the story behind that?
So we came out with a ton of names. I had a notebook filled with names, and we decided on In Transmission because we had been sitting on it for so long, and we're finally putting it out in transmission. It was also an old Thursday song that I really enjoyed, and it resonated as an influence of mine from somebody that really influenced me as a kid in playing guitar. And it also resonated as it's just the time to release this. It's time to put it out into the world. And so we decided on that. There's no real crazy cool backstory on that. It's one of those names where when we saw it, we knew that was the title of the album.
Okay. So it was that puzzle piece. It just fit. Like, this is what it should be. And
right.
And we're working with it. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I was going to mention to people that are watching this now or watching this later that in addition to like the vinyl selling and in some cases selling out, I know some of the T-shirt sizes are out because I tried to buy one.
Yeah, T-shirts are low, and then we got word that we completely sold out of pink and black splatter vinyl. All the U.S. variant is gone, and there's low quantities left of the European variants.
See, that tells you a lot. I mean, if you're selling out of things for basically a debut album, people like this band already.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's super cool. And we're very grateful to everyone that picked it up and everyone that's jamming it.
Yeah, and imagine what's going to happen when you start playing shows. And then it's going to be even more so.
I hope so. We're so ready. All of us are just, we can't wait.
Yeah, we're kind of talking pre-show too, that it looks like you have at least one show coming up in a couple months somewhere locally. Can you kind of speak to that?
Yeah, we decided to try to, we're nothing set in stone, but we're going to try to do a show in June locally just for our music scene and see how that goes, see how it pans out. I know we're open 50%, so we're still going to enforce masks. And even though a lot of people in our music scene, including us, are vaccinated, we're going to try it out and see if it holds. We just have a placeholder on the date. So if it happens, it happens. And if it doesn't, we understand.
Okay. All right. That's a healthy approach to it and a realistic approach to it as well. And, as a band pre-pandemic times, what kind of areas of the U.S. have you traveled and played shows at?
So we did like an East Coast tour in 2017 before we got Crow. We've played a ton of shows in Texas. We love going over to Texas, and that's pretty much it. We really haven't had like a massive tour, especially with Crow. So we've done a lot of local shows and then one-off Weekend Warrior type things.
Okay, all right. And now that you guys are affiliated with Metal Blade, again, when things start to open up, I have a feeling they're going to put you on maybe with other Metal Blade artists or some kind of other tour packages are probably going to come.
That would be super cool. Yeah, we would love to tour with Harm's Way and Midnight and so many Metal Blade artists that we've looked up to for years. It's wonderful to be a part of that team.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, God, you guys and Midnight and some of those other, God, what a package you can make.
Right.
Oh man, yeah, Midnight were fucking crazy up here on the Decibel tour when I saw them with Obituary and some other.
Oh, they're so nuts. I have not seen them live, but I would love to, and we would feel right at home being on the side of them.
Yeah, no, that would be a great package, and get you a chance to come see the Northwest up here and see what we're like, what our audiences are like, and
yeah, we would love that.
Everything else. And so, beyond kind of having a placeholder for the potential June date, depending on how things pan out, is there anything else? Like, is there another video in the works? Anything else that's going to be eventually coming out for this album?
We're currently, and this is the first time I say this, we're currently discussing another live stream. So we might do that in June. I would keep your eyes peeled on that. And then I think we're going to do another video for Red Guillotine. Probably a performance video. After that, we're just going to try to tour. We're already doing some placeholdings on tour for October and November. And it's another one of those we'll see if it happens type situations.
Okay. All right. And I think just for myself, also being a guitar player, are you self-taught or do you take lessons or a little bit of both?
I took lessons for about 3 weeks. And it was classical guitar lessons, and I just wanted to play with a pick, and I wanted to have distortion, and I wanted to play really loud. So I quit taking guitar lessons, and I completely self-taught how to play guitar.
Okay, and you kind of touched on this, but who were some of your guitar influences learning the guitar back then?
The guys in Metallica, for sure. Jordan Buckley from Every Time I Die, Kurt Ballou from Converge. There's so many I could name. Motorhead. We can go way back, or we can go back to the 2000s era.
Okay.
Basically, if it's loud, distorted, and crazy, I'm in.
That sounds cool. Yeah, I think I can be in with a lot of that for sure. And what kind of, I'm trying to remember, you're playing an SG in the videos, is that right? Is that your main guitar?
I got a few guitars. I wouldn't say it's my main guitar. I've done a different guitar in each video. So I just bought a 1980 PVT-60 that I used in the Medusa video. And I used the Gibson SG in the Locust Preacher video. Before that, I used my Les Paul Custom Pro, and then I just ordered a Balaguer. So I have a guitar issue. I have a problem with buying guitars and gear and amps, and I don't really have a main guitar. But yeah, I love the SG.
Okay, well, I think most musicians have that that problem when it comes to gear.
Yeah.
Like if you get anywhere near either online or if you're physically near a shop or something, it's like, oh man, this is bad if I walk in here because I'm probably walking out with something.
That's right. I got a problem.
I'm flashbacking to the story that I had, that a guitar literally showed up at my work that I had ordered. And so I was going to go to a guitar store after work to get some strings and some other things for it. And when I went into that store, I saw this other model up on the wall. And I'm like, I literally have a guitar in my trunk that it just came through UPS or whatever. And I see this other one. So then, sure enough, I walked out with a couple pairs of strings.
And the guitar?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so incredible.
So
what a great story. That's my life right there. Well, I got this new guitar, but I want that guitar. Let me get them both. Yeah.
Yep. That was the deal. I knew in the back of my head, like, oh no, is that what I think that is? As soon as I saw it, I'm like, shit, this is probably going to be bad in terms of my wallet, but I got to have it. So, it's, I don't know if it's a healthy hobby, but it could be worse. So
yeah, you're not alone in that addiction.
Yeah. Cool. And so you mentioned what's coming up, and the response to the record's been great. And artists are always their worst critics. Is there anything about the record, songwriting, a video that you thought, oh, if we could go back and make this, I changed this a little bit, or this could have been a little bit better, or if we had more time or whatever in the studio?
It's hard to say because I'm super proud of this album. I think my only initial issue was that we recorded Medusa way faster than we actually play it. We just kind of messed up on that, but now we play it at that speed, and it's actually better, I think. But it's fast. We recorded it fast.
Okay, well, that works out, I guess, in the end then, that even though you changed the speed, that now you're used to playing it that way.
Yeah, it works out for everybody except our drummer. It kills him.
So that's probably a song you're not going to start a set with then.
No. I think that's a midway set song.
Okay, and even though we're talking kind of hypothetically, but when you're getting ready to do the eventual first show back, if that's in June or if that's further down the line, what can fans expect at a Capra show? Like, how are we talking about? Maybe a 45-minute set, hour set, and then you guys are just going full board nuts the entire time, or what can people expect?
Well, we're definitely going full board nuts all the time. We can play up to an hour, so it's whatever the venue wants. We can do 30-minute sets, we can do an hour set, but you can expect craziness. Was telling this story a few days ago, actually, where one of our last shows, a kid, he was probably about 18, 19 years old, was at our show. He was in the mosh pit, broke his wrist and got a concussion. And the crowd picked him up. They carried him out. He got in an ambulance. We gave him some merch. He had a huge smile on his face the entire time, and then showed up to our next show in a cast and joined the pit. It was absolutely insane. And we love people like that.
Wow, when you mentioned what happened to him at the first gig, I think, okay, that's a great story. But then the fact that he came back.
He came back. He was at the next show. He's at every show. He's just, he thrives on it, which we love fans like that. Yeah, we love to put on a show. We love to be crazy. We break ourselves. We'll be bleeding. We'll sweat. I'm hurt for 3 days after one show.
It's making me really, really want these shows back super soon when I hear stuff like that.
Yeah, my neck wouldn't appreciate it, but I would at heart.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Tyler, thank you so much for taking the time. And again, I'm so congratulations in terms of the reaction to the release, and hopefully when things open up, you'll get a chance to do that show and maybe do that tour in the fall, and then eventually, hopefully, everything will open up, and then you can really get just push the hell out of this record, because it's such a fucking awesome record. I can't wait for you guys to really get everything back that you deserve from it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're very excited to see the light at the end of the tunnel. We're ready to get out there. We're ready to meet people, talk to you, hear your stories, and tell you where we came from.
Sounds good. Well, until then, stay safe down there. And I can't wait for you guys to finally hit the road and get some shows under your belts under this album. And hopefully you can make it to the Northwest at some point.
I hope so.
All right. Take care, sir.
Thank you so much. Later on, Mark.